do it online on Zoom. Okay, so calling this meeting to order, we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Miriam, usually they tag the last person who arrives to get the pledge. So
Okay.
you nailed it. We're good on that. So,
Okay, so public comments.
we did have one speaker slip. I'm not sure who's doing the speaker slip, taking notes. I'm gonna bring this to you, Daniel. Feels the most appropriate. We just have one that I'm aware of.
Bessie, sorry, can't say possible.
Klieger.
Bessie, please, yeah, 3 minutes, I'll start the time.
Good evening. My name is Betsy
Oh,
Klieger.
I'm so sorry. I'm gonna pause you. They can't hear.
On the,
Who's they and when did it happen? Because I think it's set right now.
Parents are saying that they cannot hear.
Yeah, I just got a text.
take a look.
It should be working. They wouldn't have been able to hear until probably like 30 seconds ago anyway, just from the delay. So that would be my assumption, but. So we have sound on here,
Yeah,
it's picking up sound, and that's the machine that picks up sound. And then it pushes it through this.
Yeah.
And so it should be working. I'm not sure.
Are they still not hearing
We're not attached to the other one this time, so there isn't the back and forth like there has been.
I thought it was,
It's a
I mean,
what's
it
on
is being
YouTube?
recorded, right? So they
Yeah.
can always reference it back.
Yeah.
Is it on YouTube or?
Yeah, it's on YouTube. There should be sound now.
Check it out.
I mean, it should have at this point uploaded it. If they're still hearing it, I would be worried. Or not hearing it.
okay, I have typing to respond.
Oh, Tim, yeah, they can hear.
We're good? Yeah, I thought so. So there's always a delay. When our meeting starts, there's probably I'm gonna say a 3 to 4 minute delay before like when I turn the sound on, that it pops up for them.
Okay, all right, we're good. Sorry.
No
go ahead.
problem. So my name is Betsy Klieger. I am the mother of a 6th grader, Wyatt. We are newer to the school, like new. We started in October, I think, or late September. And I just jumped right in and volunteered to chair the gala. So I like to keep busy. I just wanted to introduce myself and in working with this amazing committee we put together, our big focus this year is really bringing the community, the OTA community and the community at large together. And we just really wanted to extend an invitation to all the board members. If you haven't already thought about coming to the gala, we would love everybody on the board to come, be a part of it, invite your friends, and I just thought it would be a good opportunity to put a face behind like, who's this weird person I've never met before, inviting me to the gala. It's going to be on April 19th at the Cosmopolitan Hotel. It's a Viva Las Giving theme. We'll have a casino night. And there's going to be some really fun activities, a live artist. It's going to be awesome. So I really hope that you guys come soon. There will be a banner out front with a QR code. You can grab your tickets. And I'll also be at movie night on Friday with the QR code and pretty much anywhere I can be to get people to attend. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, it's no more.
Yeah, we didn't have anything online, so to my knowledge, that's it.
Okay, so board member comments, correspondence, we did have a request to put on the agenda for discussion of, it's an action item to be voted on. Adopting a requirement for all board members, present and future, to complete an online and in-person Robert's Rule course within the first month of a new school year or before the second board meeting, whichever comes first. So we can save that for action item to vote on, or?
Well, I had a couple of ideas to go with it. One is there's a nonprofit board member essential certificate that's free to get. It's a 2 hour and 35 minute course that talks about introduction to nonprofit boards, operating effectively, determining board effectiveness, nonprofit board member essentials exam. And you get a little certificate. Making something like that. This is from a company called nonprofitready.org. It's a free course. Making something like that as like a new board member would go through before they started. And then there's several fairly inexpensive workshops on Robert's rules. There's one for $600 a year. You got 12 people can go through a course to get certified with Robert's rules. There's another one where there's like a live Zoom workshop coming up in April about mastering motions. But having some program where everybody on the board is exposed to the Robert's rules process, and also, an introduction to how a board should work when they first come on. That's all I was thinking of proposing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only thing I would say is, I think that's really wonderful, Mark. I think that's a great concept. I think when we have new board members coming on, going through the Brown Act is also, the training with the Brown Act, which is also free, is another thing that I think would be very beneficial. And maybe having both those coincide with each other. And if you guys make that, again, it's up to you guys, but if you make that a mandate for board members as they come on, that can be the policy moving forward. And I think that'd be really great. Because I think that would edge a lot of some of the stuff that we've run into over the last year and a half that I've been here.
So if you guys are agreeable to it, and if this is what you had in mind, maybe we can find a training course that you think would be useful for the board and implement that requirement for next year.
Yeah, I think it would be worth doing. What I thought I would do is maybe a little premature in asking for an action item today, because there's so few board members here, that we get, solid backing from everybody on it. Send this information out and some other courses that I found. And then maybe next board meeting, take a vote on it.
Sure. And we do have enough to vote, right?
Yeah, you're at quorum.
Yeah.
You have 6 right now. I think 6 is quorum. It could be 5 because the number's 10 right now, but I would assume 6 because that's still majority.
Yeah, 6.
So I would
If
think.
we have
it's the
6, then we're definitely,
Yeah, you guys have 6. Yeah, you're fine.
Should we just vote on it?
Yeah, I think we can vote.
Okay, when we get to the actions,
To make
okay.
it required to take the course.
Okay.
The only thing I would say is, sort of backing up what Devin said, I do think that the Brown Act, I mean, especially because there are some things, for instance, like our requirement to have open discussion
Mhm.
that conflict a little bit with some aspects of Robert's rules. So if we're going to, we can't really do a Robert's rules course that doesn't take into account the Brown Act,
Mhm.
because, some of the, we've got to make sure that we're having open
Mhm.
discussion.
Mhm. That sounds good. Yeah, if there's conflict, we gotta resolve that. Sure.
So I think with the Robert's rules, I think what you'll find, and I could be wrong, but I think there's like 2 major deviations and they have to do with like closed session.
Okay.
Those sorts of things. So it would be identifying what are those differences and making sure that those were highlighted for whoever was coming in.
Mhm.
Cool.
I mean, maybe it's not, I don't think it's one point, right? It's gonna be multiple.
Well, yeah, there's like the meeting rules made easy is multiple courses.
Yeah, I was
For
just thinking,
instance,
I think
yeah.
maybe we should even start at like a doc for like to maybe first, because I mean, personally, I have no idea what when it first came out, so everything's new, so
Okay,
it will be helpful, so
okay.
maybe it will be.
When the, which thing?
Hmm?
When the what, yeah?
When it first came on board, I was saying I didn't like,
Oh,
training would have been very helpful,
Mhm.
right? Like, just even the public emotion.
Mhm.
So,
Mhm.
yeah, that's.
Okay.
So maybe we can vote later on agree on a requirement to take some,
To have a requirement.
yeah,
and then-
to educate ourselves on the Brown Act and,
Well, I think maybe it might be board training is,
yeah.
I mean, thinking about it more so than Robert's rule, to be
Mhm.
more specific to a school board,
Mhm.
whereas, as it's something that's just nonprofit, it may not actually be the right lane.
I didn't bring it with me. There's a $600 course per person that does that. for school
I'll
board.
nix that one because that's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
Yeah.
Not in the budget.
600 for 12 people, that's $50 a person. I'm sure we can find that. 600 a person.
Yeah.
So I'm just,
But what I was thinking
I'm just
was-
gonna cut the purse strings on that one.
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, what I was thinking was there would be, you know, a thing on Roberts and then the nonprofit board member essentials. And then, you know, we would have to work out where the two don't mesh and then decide how to treat that.
We're all agreeable for training on something.
Okay, well, we can vote on it when we get to that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you. Anybody else on that? We're good? Okay. Reports, presentations, discussion and information.
Can I interrupt? Sorry, I apologize. I meant to raise one more issue too, and that was to propose that we discuss, not yet make a decision on, but discuss going to Teams for the
Oh.
broadcast meeting. I bought an owl for us.
I use
So-
that at work and it's great, super easy to set up. It moves, the camera moves to whoever's speaking on it, has different like windows, you can see multiple people.
Mhm.
And I, for one, I like Teams, I think it's user friendly.
This is what I wanted to get for the classroom for when we have like, or not this specifically, but one like it for the classroom when we have like a student who's out of school and has to zoom in. So they can actually be part of the whole class the whole time, because currently we don't
Well,
have that capacity.
One meeting
Yeah,
a
one
month,
now. Yeah,
one
we-
meeting a month.
Yeah, we should be able to do it. if we
Yeah.
run into
That was invented after COVID, that's exactly.
It was invented out of COVID, I think.
Right,
It was
that's
came
right.
out of COVID, yeah.
So what we do is just put a tripod in the middle here, connected to the projector for presenting. Anybody that's wants to speak, because you could take speakers from outside of being actually here.
Mhm.
And then connect it up back to the laptop, have the laptop join the Teams, then you don't have the echo
Yeah,
issue.
yeah, the echo issue is horrible, and I always think we're ahead of it and we're not, so I apologize for that.
My own question, does this only work in Teams? Because my experience has been that it's only corporate people that use Teams, but like the average
Same.
parent or any organization I've been in, when you try to have a call on Teams as opposed to Zoom, it does not happen. And you gotta switch over to Zoom because 9 out of 10 people don't. So it does work with Zoom.
The owl.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
It works with Zoom too,
Yeah.
sure. I'm saying propose Teams, because I like Teams a lot.
Yeah, he's a Teams guy, that's what they're about.
All the corporate people
Yeah.
like Teams, but I'm saying, but I've been in, if I name 10 meetings I've had this year where they tried to use Teams, including OTA related meetings.
Hmm.
Most people can't get on Teams, like they don't have it, they don't know it.
I
You
don't,
don't have to
Teams
have
to-
Teams to get on a Teams meeting, though, something, whoever.
Well, meaning,
Right.
no, meaning the meeting does not go forward on
Oh.
Teams, because.
I had one with Positive Adventures a couple days ago, it went fine, and I thought it was good, but.
Yeah, the Teams client is free, and there's a web browser version that's free, obviously, too. So you don't need to have any kind of license to use it, just like the Zoom.
And you're saying specifically for the board meetings, right?
Yeah,
yeah, that's what he's
Yeah.
talking about. I will tell you, Connor has shared with me that, and I haven't seen this, but he came to me and said, I don't know why you're still recording and pushing out the meetings. And I said, why? And he said, because the law has changed, you don't have to do this anymore. He says, no other school that I'm working with is recording the meetings and helping them out anymore.
Hmm.
So I don't know where this is, because I haven't researched it, because my assumption was we wanted to stay with this process. Nobody told me differently. But I think there's also an option if that becomes something that you guys want to do. It sounds like there's something out there, because he's telling me none of his other schools are pumping out board meetings.
Is there a downside?
I mean, isn't that
The-
record of what's discussed, so you can always.
That's what the board agenda, that's what the board minutes are for.
Right, but like in detail, like per word, like if there's an argument, oh, you said purple, no, it's blue, and.
I don't think that there's supposed to be those things, but that's just my interpretation.
Well, but also just parent engagement, I mean, I think at this point.
Yeah, I'm not against, I was just letting you guys know that to
We
my
don't have
knowledge,
anything to
I've been told
hide.
this was an option.
Well,
But what's a prep? We're basically, we have an owl, it's great, thank you, and then I don't think we need to decide, like Zoom
Hmm.
versus,
No.
something.
we try them both, see what happens.
So we're just gonna, or
Yeah.
YouTube, I think it works with YouTube streaming. right?
Is it, well, so we're running through Zoom, through YouTube to stream. So
Oh.
Zoom is what's recording us,
And then,
and it's pushing through Zoom, or pushing through YouTube. That's why when we put it up on both, we get the feedback, because he's on Zoom and I'm on YouTube, and it's
Mhm.
I see.
going against each other in time.
So that's what I was trying to get at, was consolidating it into one device so that he joins the meeting. And in that way, you can also host, and this is true for Zoom too, you can host guest speakers that aren't actually here. I mean, there's an argument to say it would be better if they were here, right? But the Old Town population is fairly distributed. It's not like we're all in one type of community, right? So that's why I was thinking this would be a good solution. And the webinar format and the town hall format allow for organized speakers, and like you can release people to chat with each other during the meeting, and there's Q&A functions on both platforms.
I think maybe, I mean, it seems like you thought this right, but maybe that you should, like a more specific proposal, like what setup should we use?
Okay.
And then we'll just go with that, because I think that sounds fine, right?
Okay.
We can do get some feedback next time, and then that sounds great.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
We'll leave that to you.
Okay.
How much was that?
That one was,
Thanks for asking the question. I didn't want to pry, but I wanted
Yeah,
to do so
yeah.
bad.
what I didn't buy the brand new one, that's $1,100.
Yeah.
This is the Amazon reconditioned to their standards,
That's great.
refined, and I think it was 900.
Nice. I just thought.
I thought it'd definitely be more than $200 difference when you were telling the story. I thought it was gonna be like $400. I was like
No.
900.
They do the other sellers, and there were ones as low as 6, but I
Didn't trust that.
wanted the certification from Amazon.
That was funny.
I bought other equipment like that, yeah.
Mark, do you remember that it was you that had those like during, when we were online for school, the camera that you hung off a stick? Did you do that, or was that somebody else?
Camera off a stick.
Yeah, you hung it so.
Your brother was, your brother.
Oh, yeah, no,
Your
right.
brother.
Yeah.
Yes, it was
That's
your
better
brother.
brother,
He
yeah.
had it reminds me of that, like, he was ahead of the game with the.
Right, right. Yeah, no, I hung the microphone out in front, but
Yeah, but he had like a camera that he would hang, it had a magnet, and you would move it around to get like the.
right. Oh, really? Yeah. That sounds like Craig.
The owl comes with the microphone.
Mr. Craig is your brother?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was, he's the one that took over from me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're all connected.
Oh, I completely forgot about the time limits, but,
I don't think we've
We
actually
haven't
gotten
gotten
to
there
something
yet,
that has a
yeah.
time limit on it yet, so,
Okay, well, that's good.
All
okay,
right.
but we can get there.
okay, so we're good then, right?
Yeah.
No, okay.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Okay, student report, Cooper and Ivy.
Well, the student board, or
Principal advisory board?
no, just the middle school has been asking about an update on the landslide, like.
I'm gonna give one.
Okay, and also they're just asking for better sports equipment, like new basketballs and. new
Yep,
volleyballs.
those. I got you, that's on the list, so I got that part. Cool, I'll take it from my list.
Yeah, we didn't really get that much today, but I just wanted to say that like everyone's really excited for movie night. And I just wanted to, thank you for the opportunity, to earn free dress day by donating bottles of wine to the gala at movie night. And also we had a lot of fun at the middle school dance. Thank you.
Thank you. You guys were less than a minute.
We're off to a good start.
Well, we haven't had like, I kind of haven't, like, when we went around, there was just the same thing that everyone asked, which is for free dress on every other Friday, and I'm like, I don't think that's gonna happen.
I think you're right.
Thank you.
Josh is not giving a board report tonight. His big thing was the interim. Nothing has changed for him, so he just needed that to be passed. So he said, well, when you give a report tonight, he'll catch us all up next month.
Okay, perfect. Mr. Watts?
Yeah, I could probably beat a minute. We had a board meeting recently and, I think I went over what's going on in the classrooms. We have our project, what do we call the project? I'm drawing a blank, our exhibition night coming up. And then as far as how, anything new to add today, I don't really have too much, as the teacher rep today, so I'll keep it really short.
26 seconds. No record. Okay, thank you. Melody?
There've been some standards set, just so you know.
No pressure. Good evening, everyone. For the enrollment update, for new applications for kinder, we have 35 students. First grade, we have 14. Second grade, we have 10. Third and fourth grade, we have 9. Fifth grade, we have 17. Sixth grade, we have 11. Seventh grade, we have 8. And eighth grade, we have 11. For returning students, we have 8 that are returning to go into go into first grade. We have 18 going into second grade, 17 going into third, 18 going into fourth, 19 going into fifth, 20 going into sixth, 21 going into seventh, and 22 going into eighth. And our current enrollment has not changed. Neither has our ADA.
Are parents getting confirmation that their students have been re-enrolled? Because I'm hearing that a majority of them are not. They are?
Yes,
they're
we
not?
started
Correct.
sending
They're
emails.
not.
Not here.
Okay.
They're not getting notification.
Did you get a notification?
No.
No.
Yeah, so I'm hearing a lot of.
Did you get it through
people
SchoolMint or did
Yep.
you do a paper copy?
No, school.
Okay, so SchoolMint should tell, it should be accepted to you guys. What we're sending out is people who brought in the paper ones. We're sending out confirmation that we received them so that they know. SchoolMint should do all of the internal stuff with SchoolMint, so there would be a difference between these.
So they have to go look? Or does it send a notice from school?
Well, I thought it sent an email. That's why them saying it didn't was a little surprising, but we were worried about the people who were bringing their paper copies in. Because they weren't getting anything other than they turned them into us. So we were sending confirmation that they had been received and that they had a place. Because we wanted that information to get back to them. So we'll check with SchoolMint here.
Yes, we will check with SchoolMint, but they should send an automated email that the application is complete. And we started sending the emails yesterday, myself and the office staff for the paper re-enrollment forms. And so I'll just double check and make sure that they've completed their grade levels that they're sending the emails for.
Okay, and just last question. So with the new applications and the returning students, the total would be 188.
156.
No, those are individual totals. Yeah, it's not
It's
new
156
applications.
total, 78 and 78.
Okay.
So all of the new applications, that total is below, and then returning students, and then currently enrolled. So we are only at 188 for currently enrolled students. Does that make sense? Like just going down.
Yeah.
Oh,
So how many, we have 188 students enrolled in the school
yes,
presently,
yes.
and only of those 188, 78 are returning.
No, there is more returning. I don't think it calculated it for me. Yeah, I updated it today, but I don't think that part went through.
78 from 188 seems low for returning students.
Everyone's doing the math.
It looks like it's about 140 from my quick math.
78 and 78 is 156.
No, meaning just in
Just the returning.
Student said 78, she's saying that currently, present today, we have 188 students enrolled. So my question was 78 students returning seems.
So the number of returning students just isn't right, because I can count up
No.
the 20s and just do that.
Yeah, that's like, yeah.
143 returning?
If you add those numbers up, yeah.
Cool.
yeah. I don't think that formula that I put in did the bottom one for returning students. I apologize for that, but our numbers are definitely up for returning students.
Projecting 143 plus 78 or 231.
So the answer to that question is sort of, and I'm gonna answer that because like, as an example, there's 35 kindergartners. We won't take 35 kindergartners, we'll only do 30.
Okay.
So that it'll be less than that added number, but it shouldn't, I'm looking at the other ones, the max we would take in any grade is 30. So as an example, fifth grade, who has 19 returning, we would only take 11 max from the new application. So those numbers don't sort perfectly that way, if that makes sense.
Got it. Okay, so but it's regardless, you take account the max, that should, whatever that adds up to, right?
Yep,
Okay.
And what's our capacity to,
270 is our capacity.
and we're not, accepting new students in eighth grade.
Correct.
Correct.
And I had another question about school mint. What are we doing about, I know that for some, maybe even many people, I know this is for me, the only option on school mint was to re-enter the lottery. There was no re-enroll option. So sort of what are we doing to notify those parents? I actually did the paper form because of that,
Gotcha.
but people were directed to.
Re-enroll in the lottery. So we've received a couple emails that way, and so we're switching that in the system, I assume, into, I haven't had that conversation now, I think about it.
No, we haven't, because I've been going back and forth with Schoolmint. It's not as user friendly, and I'm explaining to them the problem. Most parents are getting a error message that they need an access code, and we don't have an access code for re-enrollment. And so I guess they're not seeing it on their end, but our parents are still receiving it. Some parents were able to do the re-enrollment and they had no issues, but then there are other parents that are still like
There's the
coming up
code
to that
issue,
issue.
like you said, and then
Mhm.
there's the enter the lottery issue. So school mint is giving different, it's just random options for people.
So what was the change that kind of messed up, like, made this enrollment messy? Because I don't remember that being an issue last year. So what happened this time? Because I know a lot of parents were confused and.
For sure. I genuinely don't have an answer for you. We haven't discovered why it's requesting an access code at this point. Like, we have no idea where that came from, why it came from. We've checked all the buttons within Schoolmint, the toggle buttons. She's been on the phone with Schoolmint. She's like, according to them, there isn't anything that should be issuing you guys an access code and requesting that. So we're trying to continue to work with them, because as of today, we thought we had it worked out, right? And then we worked with a parent and it still was a problem.
Yes, so I called a parent to continue to see if she was able to re-enroll, and it's only a handful of parents that are having that access code error. It's not all parents, and so that's another reason why Schoolmint is saying, oh, it's fine, because we see students are being re-enrolled, but we're still having other parents that are not able to re-enroll.
It does seem like, at least the vast majority of the parents I've talked to that have the code issue seem to be current seventh grade students. Going into eighth grade, but we can't make that correlation either as to why. Initially, I thought it was because we had closed down eighth grade, and that in some form, like we'd set something that they were asking for this access code, but that isn't what happened either.
Well, I think last week Sheila was saying, and she's got a third grader, that they had the access code.
So I think that she told me there was a third grade parent. That's the only one I've heard of that was outside of seventh grade. So I'm not really sure.
So I'm sorry, can we, if parents do come to you, because re-enrollment is closing Friday, right?
Yes, Devin would like to extend it. We talked about it today once we talked with Schoolmint again, since we still have not resolved it. He would like to extend it to the 21st, next Thursday.
Okay.
And
That
so
would
we'll
be-
have office staff send out a memo for any parents that are still having those errors to have more time to do the school mint re-enrollment if they so choose, or the paper re-enrollment. Okay.
And so obviously if a student has issues, they miss a deadline, you guys would give them that courtesy to obviously let them.
Of course,
Back.
for current families, yes.
And again, just to not, it's not just the access code, there's also, it'll tell you that you're entering the lot, I mean.
So I got one-
Different from.
Yeah, I had one email that revolved around that, and I think I forwarded it on to her, because once we figure out what's going on with school mint, we wanna be able to tweak that and pull it from the system and understand who's ours and not. But at this point, we gotta go through them because we're kind of lost in the process. To answer your question, I genuinely don't have an answer. My only current answer, and this is, I want to be very clear, this is not directed towards Melody, is that Natalie just understood the system and had done it for so long that she was doing it, and then something shifted. I don't really understand what. I don't know where, don't know how.
I think the most, because we're already in it, so I think the most important thing would be just communication, constant communication with the parents to let them know, like, we are extending, if you have issues, reach out personally to you or write your email address or I don't know, however you guys do.
Cool.
I know,
Yes.
I just want to double check the numbers. Are the returning students 17 for third grade? And then,
Yes,
but it's, I mean, it's, I'm just saying that it's 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. Is that correct?
Did you copy down? That would be easy to do.
I didn't even see that,
Good catch.
the just +1 all the way down.
no, I did not.
That's just how it works.
Yeah,
Okay, so 17 returning students meeting, that's from second grade going.
Correct.
forward, right?
correct,
Okay, and then you add the 9 new applications.
correct.
Okay,
So example, we're losing 5 kids from second to third in that class, right?
Well, from third to fourth is where we're losing five.
Yeah, from 3rd to 4th,
So that's-
23 to 18.
So that's another thing, maybe we wanna follow up with, I have 3 classes circled where we're losing 5 kids, so maybe we're gonna.
Yeah, so,
Follow up on that.
yeah, one thing that we.
Cause it also could just be a mistake with all of the
For sure.
confusion.
One thing that we did, and we can do it again, is we sent from the office, but we also had the teachers send individual messages to the parents. I think this was actually Miss Fitzpatrick's idea.
Mhm.
And so we sent them all out to the parents and said, hey, if you're planning on re-enrolling, we haven't received your stuff. And we got a flood after that. So I think probably renewing that process this week, especially since looks like we need to extend again under the circumstances. I think that's probably the best bet.
Okay.
And the email's preset, literally all the teacher has to do is send it.
So if we add them together, is with the cap is 250.
Okay.
Yeah, assuming.
And we're not done even with our marketing and, you know, the trying to attract new students, so we still got a ways to go with that process.
Okay.
That was way more than 5 minutes.
But we have lots of bank time.
Real estate advisory panel. Are we just,
5 more minutes banked.
board discussions? A report from the disciplinary policy review task force. We don't see Chris here, so we do, yes, okay.
We have 3 policies that we're going to be asking everyone to vote on, during the action items. The first 2 are coming from SPED. And they are 2, from my understanding from Devin, is that they're 2, you know, sort of standard policies that we need to kind of be up to date. I saw an email fly by that we weren't sure that they had gone to Lemo. And my thought, well, go ahead.
Yeah, those came directly initially from the SOLA.
Okay,
And so like, Kyle, Mr. Maxey came to me and said that, the SOLA recommended that we do set policies. And so they'd already, what happens with the SOLA is they already have lawyer teams that have preset those things. So I didn't send them through our lawyers.
okay.
What I did was send them out to you guys and see if there's any changes that you guys need to make. Nobody seemed to want to make any changes. That's probably because it was already, at the place where it needed to be. So while we didn't send it through our lawyers, it's been sent through like the SOLA lawyers, which we pay for in essence too.
By being numbers.
Yeah.
Well, my thought is, I think it's important that we get these in place.
Mhm.
So I would recommend, for everyone to pass these today. But I think it would also be good just to give them a pass through to our lawyers, just to, they know our school.
Yeah.
In case there's some consideration that we all have since it's fed and police. But I don't think that should hold up
Okay.
passing this.
I'll
And then
push them through,
if-
Judy. That's not a
if-
problem.
If they have a change,
Then we can bring it back.
We
Sure.
bring it back, but I don't wanna hold it up. And then the last one is an update to the suspension, expulsion, suspension and expulsion policy and procedures. And this is adding just various things I think we've been talking about all along. One, clarifying that we have dismissal versus involuntary removal, clarifying just some of the procedures, making clear that there's a wide variety of things that can be suspended or expelled for, et cetera. And I think these are issues that have come up repeatedly over the course of the year. I do see that there's maybe one typo, but again, I don't think that should hold them up. It should say suspension, dismissal, and expulsion, but
So anything you pass that needs to be changed, voice it, and then what I'll do is send it to Kathleen, she'll make those corrections. But if you voice them ahead of time and it's voted on that you voice those changes, then they're already approved. So like, it's already approved when it goes through.
well, exactly. And I mean, I think, we don't need to reapprove if there's a the or and or a comma missing. So, this has been gone back and forth. So again, if anybody has any questions on any of these.
It's like a.
Could be, I.
The vote's so big now.
It looks so nice finally in the leaves. So,
Well, these are with our edits marked on them.
Is there
oh, okay.
a reason Soma is called out separately?
Which one?
Soma
Oh, yeah.
and
No wonder it's so long.
age, always not number, maybe.
Okay, so this is the. So that's towards the beginning.
So it says, unlawfully offered, arranged, or negotiated to sell a controlled substance. For an intoxicant of any kind is already in letter D. So I'm just curious why N calls out Soma separately.
I'm looking for that. I think I have an answer for you, but I want to see which thing.
And would that put in danger that, well, you didn't list the others, so.
Oh, I get what you're saying. He's saying it specifically calls it out, meaning just that one. We're
Right.
take out Soma and be like
Wait,
anything.
I'm still not on which page.
It's letter N, it's about the 5th page, I think.
Bottom of the
One,
last word on the page.
3, 4, 5th page in, bottom, last item.
So honestly, I don't think this is the final one, but it is very similar to this. So we would take out word like Soma. You guys can see that the probation section was taken out.
But I still don't see, I remember that language in there, but I don't see where you're talking about. E, F, G, H,
Well,
I, J, L, M, N, oh, Soma.
There you go.
So I'm making a change just for it to say, or sold the prescription drugs.
Yeah.
That covers Soma or any other
Unlawfully
drug.
offered, arranged to sell, negotiated to sell, or sold a
Yeah.
prescription drug.
Yep,
Prescription drug.
we
Done.
can just leave it there.
Yeah, and we
Sarah
can
knows.
change it to that. I think frankly, this language is coming out of the general procedures, but why do they specify solar? I don't know, but if that change should be fine.
And then we'll send you a nicer version.
Yeah, I was scrambling. I'm so sorry. I really was scrambling.
We didn't have the document, so we tried to.
The Word version,
Yeah,
so
so
we will send it to you for final.
Yeah, I was just scrambling to get it here today.
no, I mean,
Apologize.
so, I mean, this is great, but we didn't have an editable version.
So good catch. Because we want everything complete. Okay, so we can put that on an action item of approval pending those changes.
Yep, that's exactly how you do it.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean we can't come back later and say,
You can come back
No,
and
this-
change
This
right.
would be the third approval already of this document.
of this year, I think.
Yes, exactly,
Yeah.
so that's what I'm saying, but we don't wanna hold up the changes that we agreed on already.
Yeah. Meaning once we vote on it tonight, it can be put into place.
Tomorrow with the changes.
Yeah.
That you guys vote for. And I'll just kick it to Kathleen and she'll get it appropriate for our website when we post it.
Definitely.
And you, okay, just because there are so many versions, could you send us a final one before Kathleen posts?
Yeah, but you did say you were gonna send me one first, right?
Yes, we're gonna
Okay,
clean this up.
all right, then, yeah, once you send that
can
one,
we- Okay,
then I'll kick it to her. She'll do her magic to it, which is really just putting the format that we put it in and making sure that everything's like, she'll read through it and make sure it's up. I'm glad she's the one reading.
and the underlines are the additions. You know what that is, where it's underlined?
Well, this underline is an old edition, I don't know, this is not the actual red line.
Oh. Okay. Well,
So, no, it's
no, we should be passing something that's not.
not red line.
Yeah,
That's fine, and we can produce the red line and table it.
Okay,
In the past, others have not. Cared to look at, I too can look at the red line. But I've seen the red line. So,
Go back to the.
but this one was.
Mhm.
So it's not gonna be those. Okay, so.
Hold on.
that's fine.
Or you-
well, no, we can, I mean, as long
You
as,
wanna pass
what he's
it?
saying is, we, you know, if you guys are generally agreeing what's in here is good content, it's been through some revisions.
And we
yeah,
did
yeah.
have
And if
a-
there's an exception, we can bring it up at another board meeting and say,
Okay, yeah, Chris,
We
Murray,
did
and I
have
have spent
all-
many hours collectively.
yeah, let's do it, let's do it.
Yeah, that's your guys' decision.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So, okay, so you're, yeah, comfortable with it.
okay.
Good.
Thank you,
Sorry,
thank
and I
you, Judy,
have
for
been
taking the
all-
lead on giving the report.
Thank you. Okay, parent foundations.
Hi, we're just talking about how cute you are.
Oh,
Thanks.
You look really nice today.
thank you.
Okay. So Parent Foundation, I have been traveling for the last 3 weeks, so you guys don't have a report in front of you. I'm gonna read off from the minutes that I just wrote down. I know Betsy came in today, so hopefully you guys all appreciated the warm welcome. We're looking forward to seeing all of you at the gala. It's on the 19th. That day will also be Grandparents and Special Persons Day. We're working with the school to get that set up. April 9th will be the next foundation meeting. That is when we will hold the vote for the next council for the coming years. There are a lot of members who are rolling off and renewing. This Friday, there is a parent coffee in the morning. One of the parents put that together at Floor and Seed just downtown. And then that evening on Friday is the movie night. It's going to be Wonka. Thank you for the shout out for the free dress. We're looking forward to 30+ bottles of wine so we can earn free dress for the school. Let's see. Marketing opportunities. I know that Mr. Phillips mentioned earlier, we were looking for some more of those. Old Town has offered for us to participate in their Cinco de Mayo celebration. So that might be a good opportunity for the school to get out in front of the community. This is a little bit of a, I don't know, it's a shout out for the teachers, but also a little self-serving. So I've mentioned before, I volunteer at the Natural History Museum for Teacher Appreciation Week on May 8th. We are bringing back Educator Night. Registration will open on the 18th. I'll send an email out through Miss Vincenti again, but yep, I will. I'm very excited about it. I've been talking to them about it for like 2 years. So it's coming back. It should be really great. You'll have access to like the whole museum, and I'll be in Paleo if you want to come see me.
I will be there.
Okay. Two other items that I guess are an ask and more of a heads up. We are making progress on the contact list with Edleo. And I don't know who's running the voting for the board going forward, but I know we had issues with it. If anybody wants to test or work through that before we get to the voting again,
Mark, did you
let me
say you
know.
wanted to take that on this week? I saw you make eye contact with me and I think that's what was going through your head, right?
So we have a few more opportunities before the end of the year for me to send notes out to the
Mhm.
community, but I don't know that we have a working list yet. And I don't know what system you're using and what contact list you're using, but it probably would be good to test it before we get to the voting.
Well, we met and went over some ways that it could be buffed up, so I don't know where he's at with it, so.
Yeah, the last I knew, Connor had it down to 10 families, I think, that were showing up still on the list and he couldn't figure out how to get them. That was just like, I want to say there was an email at the end of last week that outlined that. It's the email I forwarded to you, so I think it was the end of last week.
I have seen that there is progress made. I have not, as a parent, received any communication that tells me we've tested it and we're sure that we've reached Oliver and asked people to, like, there's been no test of that as far as I'm aware, so.
So the goal is for everybody to be on Edleo, that to be our master list of.
Well, or for us to understand where the master list is coming from.
Okay.
Where the feed is.
Well, it comes from Power School.
Right,
But the problem
right.
is it doesn't always like,
How'd that work last year?
yeah, that's the problem. And when we have siblings, it's pulling all of them, right?
No, it didn't pull, it pulled less.
The problem with the power school is that there's many fields that have similar names. And the same, they're for different people, that it was in different names, different fields, right? So
Gotcha.
I think that one thing is that, can I get a direct access to power school? And we talked about last year.
You know, I think you asked that last year and I think we reviewed it and there was some sort of policy that hindered a board member from doing that, but let me look into that.
I think when we talked last year, it's like, we weren't very clear,
Mhm.
just out of caution, we decided not to. But I
Yeah.
think right now, the things that I can only judge remotely, but if I can just get in there, I think we fine, right? Because
I can get you in there no matter what. I just may not be able to get your own access, if that makes sense. So then
Yeah, that's fine. I think the thing is that if I can get a full down, because I just got individual fields, right?
Gotcha.
And then so they were not, like, I think the problem is that, well, what I understand, there's at least 3 different email addresses. So that was the issue.
Daniel, I think you should join this group. Let's try and fix this problem. So we'll incorporate you into the next meeting too.
That's fine.
Yeah, it's definitely like slightly outside of my purview, but what I can tell you is that I know in Edleo, we can do a sync with Power School, which allows us to get some feed, but I don't know what all that data is behind it.
Right.
So we have a limited window that I can help you test before you get there. And it was clustery.
So what
Last
do you
year.
want you want source of truth to be? And Leo or Power School?
Power School has to be the source of truth. That's an official school item.
Yeah.
But it
Where we
can
also-
feed right now through Edleo, which should allow you to do some testing.
Yeah.
If you don't want to be,
So maybe
It's just
we
an
should
offer.
Do a quick path through the Power School, make sure the fields are correctly. I mean, there's only 180 students, so it should be pretty sure what on the records. And then we'll just make sure they're in the same fields, and then you can do a down file too.
it syncs to Edleo. Somebody needs to come up with how we're going to communicate to the parents and confirm that we have the right emails for people before we send out the vote. The vote was unfortunate last year. It was not a good experience as a parent. Just, it was not.
This year's enrollment.
Is there a
Yeah.
Is there a standard to how many entities from a single family unit get emailed? Is each parent or referenced individual?
So I think that's the thing is for the voting, I think they got more than they were supposed to or less than they were supposed to, right?
I mean, I think the things that it was actually the exact same process that we used the previous year, as I understand. So the difference is that what's happening is that because we don't have, sounds like what I understand, it's like we don't have 2 parents or contact both parents for every single student.
Yes,
So
that's
the
true.
previous year, the same process was that we would give 2 votes for the kid.
Gotcha.
So
Yeah,
that could be
and
the same
and
parent.
two votes came to, I think, the secondary email. Which was odd for some of us.
No, it went to everything. That, I mean.
It definitely did not. It definitely did not go to every single email. It definitely did not go to mine. It definitely did not go to hers.
I think for every single one, we can go through it offline, but I have like every single issue verified from in there. I think in that case, I talked to your husband about it. I think there was that because it was registered such a way. I may have actually log every single, so we can go through that.
Right, but my point is, let's not go through that this year.
I mean,
Let's
we
fix
need
it
to
beforehand.
change we would need to change the voting process from previous years, right? But that's the exact process when we.
So I'm so sorry to interrupt you guys, but I want to make sure you get
Yeah.
everything, but maybe the three of you guys can meet, the
Mhm.
four of you guys can meet and figure this out.
Yeah, I
I'm
think,
really interested
yeah.
in some stuff you said, because I wasn't aware of that either, so like.
Yeah, I mean, it was
stuff.
a bizarre process, but I don't really know better way to do it, right? Because apparently that's popular journey, that's what we did before. So.
Well, I think that's what
Well-
he's trying to perpetuate, is for us to start a trial, so we already know if it's working or not, like, before we step into it. I think that's what she's offering,
Yeah.
for them to be the
I-
trial animal,
I
right?
think we
Like-
have
like-
time right now
Yeah.
to test it. So
Yeah, I
that we
think
could
that's- if we
actually
can get on
email
that.
the individual
So you-
people, because not everyone, so like, my husband received 2 votes
Yeah.
from whatever that oddity was. That's fine. We both live in the same house. That worked okay for us. That is not the case for all of our
Right.
families. That would be really unfortunate for many families within our community to have to go through that exercise. It would, it's not meeting our families where they are.
Alongside Chaser, I believe is.
So Devin, can you set up a meeting with the four of you guys to discuss this sooner rather than later? And
Future today. I mean, I'm not gonna do it.
Well, to your point, though, Power School has multiple fields and data gets into the wrong space.
Yeah.
And there's repetition. And I think probably what needs to happen is we need to look at Power School by itself, audit what's in there to make sure that the fields are loaded correctly. And then audit against what makes it to Edseo, and just do a simulation email. We
Right.
can do
I think
that by
that's what
jumping
she-
it out
Yeah.
and
She's
getting
saying.
but I don't mean necessarily emailing parents. I mean, you could do a
Sure.
simulation email where you say, we're dumping into this file, everybody that gets emailed.
Yeah,
Then we audit that to see how did that compare to what's in PowerSchool.
that sounds ideal.
Okay.
okay, so you guys
Great.
will. follow up
I
on
took a
that.
note to make,
Thank
to
you.
set a meeting soon.
My last item, and I mentioned to Melody, but it had not occurred to me before, so this is an ask for the school. If you could just check if there are any uniform dollars that are coming into the school that aren't going into the Square store. I know we've all, and I'll just remind the group again, the foundation has excused itself from the uniform store, but we are still in the red. Still, but we're just not getting uniform dollars. And we gave you guys more money, and we're still not up on that.
Yeah, I will most definitely check in and see, like, I still see the square things come in, but it's like minor compared to, we used to.
It is very
flood my
minor.
Email,
Yeah,
and now I probably get like 15% of what I got before, so,
yeah.
I definitely.
And so I don't know if uniforms are still going out. I don't have line of sight into that,
Yeah.
but
I'll check with Corey. I don't think there's a lot of uniforms going in and out, but I will definitely check to see if there's some
Are-
sort of money that we haven't.
Are you saying people are paying cash, it's not going through Square?
I don't know. I'm
That's what
saying,
she's
I'm
asking.
saying
She's
we
asking
don't,
for me to check.
the reason, one of the reasons we voted to get out of it is we don't see the uniforms. We were writing checks, but we're not getting paid. So somewhere, something is happening and we don't sit on the uniforms. Those happen at school, so I don't know.
Okay.
I know my budget is low and a chunk of it is uniforms.
Got it.
That's all I have. Any questions?
Anybody? Thank you.
Great. Thank you.
All right, Devin. Physical report.
Okay, so first thing is, building repairs on here. I really have two things to talk about. The first is the mudslide, so to update on the mudslide. I spoke with our leasing office today. They finally got back with me. It's kind of been silent for a period of time. Their geologist, I think is the proper term, who came and like, looked at it. They gave a preparation for them on how they would operate if they were converting this building into something other than a school. And so they've now asked for them to go back and like, hey, it's still a school. We need to know what is the short-term answer for this, not what the long-term answer is for this. So they're awaiting that, and they're also working with the neighbor to work through what's our fault, what's their fault, where some of that stuff lies. Unfortunately, that's a much slower process than I shouldn't say that I anticipated. I anticipated it to be slow. It's just even slower than I anticipated, I think. So right now, working with them, it's my understanding that sometime next week, like early next week, I should get a response from them on how they're going to move forward with it. I'm also working with our insurance company because it did blow out our retaining wall. And so I'm trying to get the help from them in that area too. So unfortunately, I don't have any kind of deadline of it's going to be cleaned up and it's going to be this way. What we have had is a couple people come out and we've set up a nice barrier between it for the kids. That's like in the concrete fence, so it's not like somebody can knock it over and run through it. But until this can be fixed, we need to leave that up. So that's our current status. It's not great, but wanted to update. I don't have any kind of other than knowing next week that we should have an answer. I don't have any kind of other deadline currents that I'm waiting on to know on what that looks like. It's just very unfortunate. It's very unfortunate. It cost us some of our playground. It's very unfortunate of what's gonna come out of it, working with the neighbor and things like that, because those are never like great situations. Yeah. You don't have to raise your hand, Mark. You can talk.
My Rotary, I'm supposed to ask her for permission to speak.
What?
Yeah.
Robert's rules.
Yeah, so,
That's not.
my Rotary Club does Rotarians at Work every April. And the current chair has expanded it to 3 weekends to catch more people. Because everybody's always on vacation, you know, the one they choose. They're accepting projects right now. So if there is something that 12 or 15 Rotarians could do on a Saturday morning, to address that situation, like dig it out or.
Well, that's what I say. So right now, the geologists and the contractors that have looked at it have both said until we plan on like expecting that wall to come down completely and we're prepared to repair all in one move, we shouldn't mess with the dirt at all. That's why it's still there, because there's a belief that there's still stuff up there that needs to come down. And if you go look at it, there's a boulder of dirt. I'm gonna call it a boulder because it's enormous. It's about this big and it rolled off the hill because the tree is now growing directly out, and that needs to come down. Like I have I don't know why I'm on the chair. A couple times wanted to just go push it myself. The problem is if I fall with it, there's a bunch of cactus on the way down, and I'm a little bit nervous about that trip. So I haven't.
All right, Wiley.
Yeah, so I haven't put it. We haven't got there yet that I'm going to do it, but that's what she was talking about on the phone with me today too. Is the geologist is still saying there's so much that needs to come down before that can even be addressed, that I don't know that I could give you a date that like, hey, yeah, we'd love for you to come in, because right now, if you remove that dirt, the assumption is that the whole retaining wall is going to bust out and more is going to come. And I don't want to put that on any Rotary guys who are just trying to be helpful, and if that makes sense. So when we get to a place where they're ready for that, I will send you a proposal and decide if you guys want to do it or not, but we're not there yet.
Okay.
Cool. Any other questions on the wonderful mudslide? Okay. Next thing is in the mindfulness room, we did have the air conditioner. I think I mentioned this last meeting. We did have that replaced. It's been literally a search for almost a year to find the proper pieces for our building's air conditioners, because they're so outdated. They're all old models that we're literally having to go through like old what do you call them? Junk, what do you call it? Salvage. Like salvage, yeah, where they're literally picking specific pieces off and shipping them to us from things. So we finally got the proper pieces that we need, and I don't see it in the garage anymore. So my assumption, Mario told me he was going to do it this past weekend. I don't see it in the garage anymore, so I think it was taken care of. I can't confirm that, but that was the other thing that's been done. B on my list was policies, which we already had Judy review, so I'm going to skip those because she gave good insight on all of those. The other two things, the first one is we did vote last meeting to bring on an assistant principal for next school year. I have brought to you a salary based on a couple different things that I've had some conversations with you guys, but this is the salary I would like to push out. It only goes up to 5 years. If we have an assistant principal that stays with us for 5 years, then I would need to come back and extend that and look at that. But this is the current proposal to be part of the assistant principal. So I'm going to ask for a vote on that. If you guys aren't in agreement with it, please share and we can always edit and come back. But from what I was working with, the information I had, what was reasonable, what was semi-competitive, and also allowed us some movement in our budget. This was the best I could do as far as that goes. And then the last thing, well, does anybody have any questions on this?
So this is the first year they're here, they get that.
Yep.
It goes up.
Yep.
Okay. And is there any change in benefits during that time?
No, our benefits are pretty standard within, like I have the same benefits as the teachers have, so there's no addition in that.
Okay.
In that department. Any other questions on this?
And this is market value, right?
It's, if I'm being, so it really depends on where you look, right? If you're looking at the district, probably we're not market value. I would tell you, I'm not market value for the district, right? Like, we're a smaller school, so we're below that. Now, if I compare it with other charter schools and other things, this is some of what I was getting paid number 2 as a principal at another charter school. So this is very competitive, I think, in the charter school world for an assistant principal, if that makes sense. And I'm in defining it in the charter world because there are places where you can make 6 figures as an assistant principal in the district, depending on the demographics of that school, because they're based on demographics. It's really weird within the district, they're based on demographics. Any other questions?
Are we saying that we're giving the same compensation regardless how many years this person coming in?
Yeah.
So if you, I hear what your question is. So that one's tough. That was not my plan. My plan would be that we would hire somebody with no experience to start this position, if I'm being honest. And so it's expected to start at 1.
No official experience, but experience,
Yeah, I'm not really super looking for past administrative experience. Maybe somebody more trying to break into the administrative world.
But if you were, I guess if you were.
They would come in with their years of experience. So if somebody had been like 3 years of different school and they came in, we'd start them. So that's how that works with teachers. You do the same with administrators.
I always like to bring people in at a number they're happy with, but it's lower than I want to pay them and see how they do, and then give them a mid-year.
So it's harder in education than, or maybe I'm wrong about this, but to my knowledge, it's harder in education. So you're given a salary for 1 year, and then the next year you get 1 more year of experience, and so that adds. So there isn't like an increase for teachers or administrators. You can do that with classified people. So like if you brought in like an IA as an example, in instructional aid, you could pay a certain amount and have a threshold of 6 months. You're going to bump up by doing certain things. It's different with teachers. I've never seen it that way. Any other questions? Way more questions than I thought I was going to get. So any other questions? Okay. The last thing I want to bring the attention to, I have been contacted pretty consistently over the past 2 weeks by the corner liquor store down the street, 2 blocks on the right. Got video today sent by the owner. There are multiple parents who are picking up their kids there. I first want to urge, and I'm going to say this publicly, I don't think it's a good idea to have your child go to a liquor store. That's my thought process on it. But there's a flood of kids that come at the end of the day that go into the store who aren't spending money, and parents who park in the spots waiting for their kids who don't spend money. And so this was a problem last year where we got a lot of calls about it. I think I sent some emails out and I think it got calmed down. It is definitely increased big time in the last 2 weeks. I actually told the owner's son is the one I've been in contact with. I told him to come and talk to you guys about it. He couldn't make it tonight. But he sent me video and counted in the video, he counts the amount of cars that are just parked in his lot, which none of them are going in. It's just to pick up our kids. I do think that, there were certain things that I asked for over the summer. One of the things I asked for was a walker pass from the board, where anybody whose child was being released to walk they would fill it out and they would identify where they were going so that we wouldn't be having kids go to these certain locations. That was denied by the school board as being too intrusive into the parent. I disagree with that and would like to revisit that because I do think that this is an issue that we've left and allowed in our neighborhood. It's up to you guys what you want to do with it, but it is definitely something that like I would like to address, because I do feel like we're not being good neighbors right now, especially from the calls that I've got.
It would be better to have the parents step up and not go there and have the kids not go there rather than the liquor store owner decide to start towing.
You're 100% correct, Mark. And I think at this point, they're pretty upset. They're very kind people. I've talked with them every single time I go. I stopped going in there to get a sandwich because every time I do, the lady, the female owner, the mom, we were saying, she talks to me about this issue, and I just don't want to talk about it during school anymore. So I stopped going in there, to be honest. But it is something I would like to change.
Does the liquor store own all the parking spots in that boulevard?
Nope. But the ones that are right in front of the market, those are like, in essence, those. But
Yeah.
conceptually, all of those parking spots are for business, and we're taking them up. So while the corner market store is the one that's reaching out to us, all of those places are losing their business during that period of time. That's what he said. He literally told me, I can show you from our sales how our sales go down for an hour and a half while all these kids are coming in and out and nobody's buying anything because nobody can park and get into our store during this period of time.
As a parent, who my kid goes there.
Thanks. Thanks for being honest about that.
I actually didn't know there was a complaint. I didn't know, we never parked there, we just picked them up.
Yeah.
It doesn't go in the store, it just.
Then you're probably not actually the one they're complaining about.
I think I am like, you see like, sometimes it's hard for me to go get there, and sometimes it's hard. To get in.
Yep.
I see that. What is, tell me about the walkers that I have to look for.
So this summer, one thing that bothers me as an administrator, like, and I've shared this with you guys in the past, at the core of my job is school safety, right? It is making sure that every kid is safe and I know where they're going. When kids walk off this campus right now, we don't know where they're going. There are kids who live close to the neighborhood, they walk home. There are kids who walk down the street and we have no idea where they're walking. They seem to be picked up. We don't get calls that we have missing kids. But as a policy, from my standpoint, I would like to know where they're walking. So if there is a call that says, hey, Johnny didn't show up where I was supposed to meet him, we know the track that he most likely would have walked because we know that location and we can immediately start to put out some sort of search, right? That's my goal for the document, but it's also to go, hey, we're not gonna be parking at the liquor store. We're not gonna there needs to be some locations that are not on that list, and we can also deny those walker requests because we're not being good neighbors. Like that was kind of the purpose of the goal of that process.
Would it be something that the parent file, like keep on file? Like,
Yeah, 100%. That's what I mean. So the parent called and said, hey, Johnny didn't show up. We could literally pull the file and go, okay, you're supposed to meet here. You know, this should be the walking path, what deviations could be, and we could literally almost send a search team, right? Like as weird as that sounds. But those are my fears. My fears are always not getting kids back to their parents. And I think while it's 2 blocks and it's not like a huge, massive walk, kids can make the walk. I grew up walking sometimes to school too. It's not that, it's that because we're not residential everywhere around us, these kids aren't walking to like a home. I would like to know where they're walking so that we can be a little bit safer in that. And also try to be neighborly and say, okay, we're not gonna have 50 people go to the corner liquor store. You know what I mean? Like, what can we do to help that?
This was brought up in months.
This was brought up in May, June, and July. By August, I had given up.
Actually, I remember it also coming up in August, and I remember the issue being not so much the fact of having a slip, but the nature of the slip that was proposed.
So I think you're talking about the code of conduct. And those are,
No, this was a walking slip. too.
then I'm not sure with that one. The code of conduct was what I wanted to issue. That was,
Yeah.
that one was
That's a whole
denied on that
separate-
purpose.
Yeah, that was, but I think with the walking slip, I mean, and I'm not sure that we can ask like where kids are going, but we can have a slip just giving permission.
To leave campus,
walk.
that's the other thing is it's a liability thing, right? If we have a permission slip from a parent that says they can walk off campus and something happens, like the truth is, we're not the same liability as we are right now when we're just releasing them without that release form.
So the parent does the walking pass?
They would sign off on it.
They would sign off on it?
Yeah,
So So that was arranged before the student arrived at school and when they go to, okay.
Yep, I just, that way we have an idea where they're going and so on and so forth, so.
And what was the objection?
Do you want my professional opinion or my personal opinion?
Well,
So my professional opinion is that a lot of stuff I tried to do this summer was denied on the basis that I don't understand, so I can't answer that question. On personal, some of the board members that denied it were picking up their kid at the liquor store. And they didn't want that to change.
Didn't want to have to do a slip to say it was.
They just didn't want, they just didn't want like that.
On record.
Yeah.
okay, and again, that I have seen that slip, so it had to come to the fall, and my children don't walk, so I'm outside of this discussion. But, again, I mean, I know at least when I saw it, it was just the language of it just seemed outside of the bounds of what any, you know, I pulled a bunch of other schools walking slips, and, you know, most schools walking slips say like, you know, does your kid have permission to leave campus after school? Yes. You know, end of story, maybe a few more than that.
I need to go back and look at it. I don't
Whereas
remember.
this form was, you know, your kid may, you know, be hit by a car.
Be very serious, yeah, that was language that the lawyers had signed off.
As soon as they leave, I mean, it was sort of.
Yeah, I do know what you're talking about now. That was language that the lawyers had put in, because they were trying to release us from liability. So when they chose to walk, if these things happened, the parent understood that they were taking on that liability. So that is why, that came from the lawyers, that piece did.
So the
Does it-
same thing, like, your kid might step off campus and.
I think it said
there's a
something about death.
possibility
I think
of
death was listed.
Getting hit by
Yeah.
a car, a bus, potentially.
I don't think it said something like that. It said that it could result in death or something
Maybe
like
we
that.
can rephrase it if you wanted to revisit.
Yeah, and I was open to that then. That's just what the lawyers had advised, because we had run it through the lawyers before I ever brought it to the board.
Well, why don't you bring an example for next board meeting?
Cool, I'll put it in my notes.
And can I just say, we're over time, but I just want to say, since hopefully parents are watching, I would encourage them that if they are approached by the business owners to just act respectfully and not become combative with them and understand their position, so just keep it polite and courteous.
I'm gonna piggyback off that and say, the reason Miriam's saying that is because we had some reports that it wasn't that way.
Correct.
And so,
And that's unfortunate and really unfair and a bad representation of what our school is aiming to be.
yeah, I appreciate that comment. But that's all I have. I just wanted to bring that up.
One quick question on that.
Yeah.
So you're gonna, so right now, students can walk off school at the end of the day, right?
Mhm.
So to implement that, to basically at some point, we need to let the students know, let the parents know, and then we're just gonna stop them from walking off school until they have the walking slip?
So at this point, we could talk through what that looked like. I was trying to get it done at the very beginning of the year, so that was part of the initial packet. So that's the reason I said by August, I didn't feel like we were getting there, so we moved past it. So if we did something like that now, and I'm throwing out a rough, what we would do is designate, like in 2 weeks from now, if your child if we haven't received this form back, they will no longer be able to like walk off campus until a parent were to pick them up.
And maybe just throwing this out there as well, if we possibly open up pickup again, maybe less parents would be picking up at the liquor store or home and away, like open up the field.
Yeah, because I think the issue has become that those areas, those parking lots have become the new town square. So the associating that parents were doing at pickup on the field is now been pushed to these parking lots. And so we're sort of creating this problem by that change.
So we opened up the field in the morning and we have at max 4 people on any given day, and other than Fridays are different. And I'm gonna honestly say that it's closer to 1 or 2 max every day. So I struggle with that being the reason that this has happened. That I feel like that was a reason that was lots of things were blamed last year on, and when we changed the policy, the response was not at all what everybody anticipated it to be. So while I hear you on that, end of day, because of people knowing where their kids go, that one I'm not open to making a switch to, because I want to know That's why the walker part bothers me so much, because we don't actually know where that kid goes, right? Like, we know if they get in a car, like, we've got all that on camera. We know if they're at the gate, we're radioing that. I want to make sure that we're handing off the child to the parent in the best form we can, and the waiver releases us from the liability.
So we are liable until there is either a signed document or the student stays on campus till they're picked up.
So right now, so school is door-to-door liable, right? So when a kid leaves his door to come to school, if he's walking, we're liable even if he's right in front of his school, or right in front of his house. So the second he walks out of his door to walk to school, we're liable for him until he makes it all the way home on that walk, okay? Same is true of a car. If a parent has the child in a car, the second they step out of the car, we become liable for them. The second they step back in the car with the parent is when we relinquish liability. So the walk from here all the way to the car, if a kid decides he wants to walk up the hill for one random day and something happens, like, we're liable.
Okay.
And that's what I'm worried about,
Okay.
right? And it hasn't happened here, thank God. I hope it never does, but I also want to cover us on the legal side to say, if you want your kid to do this, we just want you to know that you're accepting liability during that period of time.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Sure.
Any more questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, action items for approval. Board
So,
meeting.
I don't have that, but so the word engineer that basically I built this whole system of using two AI to do transcriptions. And then see summary the panel, but which after work, but it, I didn't realize it was cutting off at 90 minutes. So I have everything up until December, and it was only the first 90 minutes of the meeting. So I did, so it's up to I have the September one, as I realized this weekend, and then, but not the other one, so I have to catch up on that, but I'll get that done the next couple days. I'll do that, but, yeah.
You can send it.
That's what you're saying. Will you send them to me so we can put
Yeah,
them on the
because,
policy, get them on the docket?
Who was the person? But somebody reached out to me.
Kathleen Shaw probably reached out to you. So Daniel, it wasn't that I didn't think you were gonna get it done, but Miriam and I talked and she's like, we really need to get this done. I'm like, Kathleen, like, this is something that she can do. So she kind of took some of that on, and then Miriam told me at one point, oh, Daniel's doing it, you can cancel it. And I was like, look, I'm just gonna allow her to keep working, and that way maybe we can get it all done. So if you can work with her or utilize her in any way, feel free.
What is she doing?
So she is a consultant for us.
Yeah.
She's an educational consultant. She works in two areas. She works with me on policies, and she works with the SPED department in.
Was she doing the update to the website, right? That's what she's doing.
She doesn't do updates to the website.
She's just doing the minutes.
She does all the board stuff, like the policy stuff. So I've asked her to do the board minutes as well. So that's what I'm saying. You guys she can help you in that process.
Okay.
So you're not stuck doing it all by yourself.
I gotcha. Okay, I have an enormous system already for it.
Well, that's okay. If you don't need her, that's great. But what I didn't want to happen was, I mean, we're multiple months behind, and if we go into our review with the district in May, we have it, I think, May 2nd, I think is my day. I could be wrong on my date, but it's early May. If they go on our website and we don't have that stuff, we're gonna be out of compliance. So I just want to get it back.
So there should be, so I have partial up until all last year. And then I just need to capture, so about 30 minutes extra for each one of those ones.
Last year, but like the beginning of this school year, 'cause I
From
know,
September through,
Yeah.
but there was 2 meetings, so it's like 5, I think.
because I know Kate did provide all of her meeting minutes and to have those uploaded. I don't know if they are.
She has September, I think, and then,
Or for the last school year.
yeah, so she has, I think those.
She did
right now.
provide, yeah.
I think those are up already, so we need.
Oh, they are, Kate's, the one Kate took.
So some of that stuff got posted. Once
Okay,
we,
I know-
that's what Kathleen was working with Connor to get what needed to be posted that we had.
Okay, 'cause I know she did send those out and.
Yeah.
Okay, so,
All right, so we're kicking the board minutes.
okay. Approval of check.
You guys have that one.
And why does it seem so short, or because fewer weeks between board meetings?
Well, it looks like it's all of February, to be honest.
Can we, this is just random, can we ask Melody to print it a little bit bigger?
It is small.
We can, this comes from CSMC, I would assume she can zoom in on it,
Or
so
maybe turn it this way.
that part we can't do, we requested that last year and they said no to that one.
Okay.
Check registry bigger.
It looks pretty normal to me. I move to pass the check register.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any abstention, or do I need to say that?
You say any opposed,
Any opposed?
and then any abstention.
Any abstention? Oh, okay.
What was that word again?
Abstention. How do you say it? Abstention. right?
Abstentions.
Yeah.
You said it right, it was.
Nobody's
Okay.
abstaining, yeah. Okay.
Let's say it right.
Yeah, it was a 6-0 unanimous vote.
Okay. Approval of 23-24 second.
So that's what Josh gave a report of
Last
last,
week, or last time.
whenever the last meeting was. And so that's what needs to be passed for Friday, the 15th. That's why we scheduled this meeting.
I move that we approve the second interim.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye. Bob, are you voting?
Okay, any opposed? Any abstention?
Nope.
No, okay. Good. Approval of policy, can I just throw them all in together?
You technically can't. If we put them in a resolution, you could. That's why when they were really big earlier in the year, I brought them in resolutions, but then they started getting broken off and divided, so that
Okay. So approval of policy 4004 pending updates and changes.
So moved.
you have to define those.
Oh, to say what they are?
Each one.
I mean, like the big ones, you're supposed to define what those changes are so we can.
So it was, for example.
I know it's the drugs one.
Yeah,
I don't think there was any of the 04, right? Do we have anything to say on the 04?
The 04 is
Yeah,
the one that had
suspended
the
one.
drug and.
So for that one, we're gonna be adding the right to appeal. We're gonna be removing the word specifying the word soma and adding all prescription drugs in it. We're gonna be removing the option for rehabilitation plans for students that have been dismissed to
That's not what it is.
it is crossed out in this one.
Okay.
So,
It's crossed off.
yeah,
Yeah.
so it's like that, some small grammar mistakes.
I think that's good. That was really good, actually.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
what will happen is Kathleen will literally review the video and make the edits according to what is said.
Okay,
Okay, so I'll renew my motion, so moved.
can I just, I'm so sorry, can
Oh.
I just say that with the exception of there may be a thing or two I missed, nothing big, I just want to make sure we don't have to come back.
Yeah, you're good.
So, okay.
All right, for a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay. Approval of policy 7003, which is the independent education evaluation, IEE.
I move to approve that.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Any opposed? Any abstention? Okay. All right, approval of policy 7004, which is the guidelines for physical restraint of students.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Aye.
Okay,
Good.
approval of assistant principal salary.
I move to approve the assistant principal salary as presented by Kevin.
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Good. Noted.
Okay. So I realize the agenda says this, but for our discussion earlier,
Mhm.
I'm going to remove Robert's rules course and just say approval of a board education requirement starting the new year, the new school year
Mhm.
before the second board meeting.
Mhm. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Good.
That was cool.
Yeah, that's good.
Oh, we will be moving into closed session and we will be. Have a good message. Okay, we just finished closed session and there is nothing to report. Great. Okay, meeting adjourned.
That's important.